Hey guys, Spiritual Wanderess here, coming to you this beautiful Sunday weekend to have more real talk. Because as you all know, I love the real talk and being vulnerable and authentic and helping you guys through your spiritual journey by talking about what I've encountered in my spiritual journey and what has helped me, what has made me, I guess, not instead of progress, I regressed. All of that stuff, that's why I'm open with it. And to also let you guys know that you're not alone. That spiritual awakening in its essence is a very it's a messy thing, right? I mean, you're literally being reborn. And if you think about birth, the original birth, when we're born into this world, it's a messy, quite shocking experience. Being spiritually rebirth will also have that same undertone. It's messy, it's not pretty, and it's quite the shock to the system and, scary at times too. So anyhow, in this particular one, I feel called to really touch upon spiritual warfare. This is going to be like a taboo topic that we don't necessarily dive into very often, right? Just people that talk about it get labeled crazy, or other people haven't really opened up their mind to that as a possibility. So they feel like, oh, that's just make-believe. It's not real. There's many reasons on why this particular subject is taboo. And I'm speaking about it because, from some of you guys that are familiar with my platform here and then also on Facebook, I have been very open with my journey having to deal with a secret society of Eastern Stars and Freemasons targeting me. How they are connected to a church organization in my hometown that my family and friends were a part of. And when I got to break away from my family and people of my past because I discovered all the betrayal that they were doing to me, I don't know what happened for them to initiate this, the whole organization, like what they said to the organization, or if I was just named their sacrifice, their sacrificial lamb to benefit their life in a materialistic way, right? If they succeed. I will get deeper into how secret societies work when it comes to that stuff. They do sacrifice people. You can look it up, Google it. It's not an uncommon thing. People saying that, yes, they actively sacrifice people. So whether it was that or them saying that I'm choosing to bring war to them or whatever, I really don't know. All I know is that when I stepped away from those people of my past, I also started to be heavily gang stalked, targeted by the secret society of Eastern Stars witches that these people were associated with. And through that came a lot of spiritual warfare. And that is how my mind got open to it, that I started to recognize that, oh my God, this stuff actually, it's really happening and it's real. And then what I did to counteract that, right? So every full moon, particularly the full moon cycles, I would say those were the heaviest attacks. For those that haven't heard of moon magic, it is a type of witchcraft where basically they get together, they project whatever they want to send your way, okay? But they do it during the full moon to utilize the energy of the full moon to make however they're wanting you to feel, or whatever curse or whatever they're placing upon you, to be magnified, because that's the full moon energy will magnify their spells and intentions they're putting on the people they are targeting. So for me in particular, I had to deal with a lot of death spells, health spells. Every full moon, it was like a switch. Nothing would trigger it, right? It literally was just like it would happen 3 days prior to the full moon, and it could last up to 3 days after the full moon, which is the correct time frame for moon magic to do what it does. And for the longest time, I thought there was something wrong with me, because every full moon I could be fine and happy, but a switch would go off in my head. And I'm very sensitive to energy, so I would pick it up that 3 days before the actual full moon hit. Okay. I would become suicidal out of nowhere. My whole personality did 180. This isn't something I've struggled with my whole life. This is something that started to happen to me as I became a target of these people. And I would believe when this switch thing would happen in my head, I would want to feel like there's no point in living. I hate my life. I want to, not be here anymore. That God doesn't love me. I am such a strong person of faith. But in those moments, I felt like God didn't love me, that I will always be alone and struggling. My life will never get better. Everybody's against me. There's just really nothing here for me to live for anymore. It was a full-on, I fought for my life during these attacks. And then, by 3 days, I'd be back to my normal self of deeply rooted in my faith, knowing that I have a purpose, knowing that God loves me, knowing that, yes, I may be unhappy with certain aspects of my life, but not enough to I want to take my life. There was something else going on here. And so I eventually put it together once I found out people of my past were part of these societies, and that I went through a really bad smear campaign by them. That's when I started to connect the dots with the moon magic. And so I speak upon this not to sound crazy, because I know a lot of people that are not familiar with it, that know that this kind of stuff exists. They look at us like, oh my God, they're crazy. Like, don't even pay attention. That's not my intention to come here and be vulnerable to get judged. It's not. My intention is to be vulnerable and real and share my story, because it is my God-given testimony. Something I truly, genuinely fought tooth and nail to survive. And there's others out there like me, whether or not it's moon magic, or some people have had experiences with energy weapons being targeted at them, to where it's a frequency that completely switches how their brain is thinking, and they as well can become very suicidal. It's a possibility those were used on me. I don't know. All I know is that for me, Eastern Stars, full moon, I had a major connection to that, a trail to that I could literally, it wasn't a possibility. I literally saw the connection to all of that. So that's why I just primarily, it's moon magic. That was my main focus. I didn't really get into the whole energetic weapon, but I know they're out there, and it's a possibility. But whatever the attack is, they're using on chosen ones. And these are secret societies, guys, they're worshiping the dark, okay? They may pretend to be of the light, but what they're practicing behind the scenes is absolutely of the dark. And they are targeting chosen ones here. One, because the enemy, our enemy, their master they worship, hates God. Hates God. So he's going to hate God's children if you have a strong conviction of faith and honoring God. If you know that you are a chosen one without a doubt, I guarantee you the dark knows that as well. And they will be after you. And they typically come through these Luciferian type, satanic, witchcraft organizations that hide behind a church during the day. But at nighttime, it's a completely different world. They practice witchcraft. They do sacrifices. If you come out and speak about the organization, which I have done, they also want you to be shut up, quiet, and get out of the way. And so they'll attack you because you're speaking out against it as well. These are real things that many of us have to deal with. It's not in our heads. It is real life, spiritual warfare. And for all those people that want to doubt what I'm saying here, please do me a favor and go and look up Operation Often, a government study. It was kind of like a sister study to MK Ultra, but in this one, Operation Often, they teamed up with witches and warlocks, and they studied the effects of cursing people in spiritual warfare. This was an actual real life, the government submitted to it. If the government believes in it and they're utilizing it, do you really think that this is so make-believe? That's just programming. We're programmed to be taught that if we believe in these things, that's crazy. It's not reality. That's not the truth, guys. Okay? The truth is the government, these secret societies, witches and warlocks, they're well aware, and they know that this stuff is real and that it can be used in spiritual warfare. And it was tested amongst the American people when they ran these operations, which I personally believe there's more operations being ran today, as well as the gang stalking program, that utilize these secret societies for both those, for witchcraft and for gang stalking. They're working alongside with the government. I believe there's more going on. But point being, this is very real for many of us out there. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't make it to the end game because they think it's them. They think there's something horribly wrong with them and they can't figure out what's happening. And they do take themselves out. And the dark wins because they just lost a beautiful light of the world. The dark does not want us chosen ones to do our mission here, guys. They don't. Because the dark benefits. First of all, the dark feeds off of negative emotion. Okay? So fear, anger, all of that, they feed off of it. They want those emotions to be shame, all of that to be prevalent in our world. But they don't just energetically benefit off of it. They also benefit off of sin, right? I mean, because sex trafficking, I don't know if I'm going to get flagged for these words on here. I guess I'll find out. But, the sex trafficking, they have their hands deeply in that as well, right? Because that's inflicting pain and trauma on people. And when people are full of pain and trauma, they have a tendency to embrace the dark and think God doesn't exist, right? There's reasons they are involved in very dark things that inflict pain and suffering on mankind. The ultimate goal of the dark is to ruin God's creation, to have man be less than what God intended for man to be. And it's so crucial. If this is ringing a bell with any of you guys that have gone through this stuff, which if you have, I would love for you to leave a comment below and tell me your story. Tell me if you have had any similar experiences, or if you have had experiences with even energy weapons or other type of spiritual warfare, or being targeted by secret societies. Or, I've had friends that have they open their front door and there's like this voodoo witchcraft looking thing right at their front door. Somebody had found out where they lived and they started, harassing them that way at their home. And these people were, the man was a preacher, and then the wife was, the supporting wife of the preacher. Very, very religious, having their own, believing heavily in spiritual warfare and talking about it, which is kind of rare in Christian society, because we talk about God and stuff like that, but they don't talk about spiritual warfare and then demonic entities and stuff like that as if that's make-believe, but that's very incorrect. So I've heard stories I've experienced it myself. I'm curious though what your guys' stories are regarding it. And then also, what got you through it, right? For me, my saving grace, I learned to alchemize the thoughts in my head. So when I started having these thoughts, my way to get through it, so I started feeling like I can't stand myself, I don't want to be here, I would stop it, right? Because the brain is a muscle. We can control it. Stop it, and then I would intentionally say 3 things of positivity, like I love myself, I love my life, I love this, to counteract, to transmute the darkness that my brain wanted to say, whether it was a psychic attack, moon magic, energy weapon, I don't know, doesn't matter. I had to learn how to combat those negative emotions that were arising in me. And then 2 other things that have been absolute lifesavers has been grounding in nature. Big game changer for me. Nature is so healing in transmuting dark, negative emotion, okay? But also spiritual baths. I'm a huge, huge advocate of spiritual baths. And I don't mean just Epsom salt baths, okay? I want you to get Dead Sea salt, okay? Like from all the way from Israel, like the real stuff. I also do black salt from Hawaii. It's lava salt, but it's still does the job. And I use my own other concoctions and little herbs that are meant to purify the energetic field. And when I feel like I'm heavily under witchcraft, spiritual warfare targeting me, energy being projected at me, there's been times where I've spent 8 hours in a bath because the spiritual warfare was that heavy. But that's how I transmuted the energy sent at me that literally was meant to kill me. At the end of the day, everything I went through, I truly believe it was because they wanted to kill me. So those are my 3 things that I swear by. The power of the mind, learning how to counteract the negative thoughts that arise, taking control of it, okay? Saying, stop. I'm going to take control and flip this narrative. And even though you may not be feeling it, you still say it, okay? And that is going to help reprogram your mind to where the dark cannot grab a hold of you, those dark thoughts. I also like to do sage. Just open the windows, get light in, all of that. Use vibrational frequency music, clear out any negative energy. That's a huge saver for me. And then, like I said, to go out in nature and go barefoot, right? Make barefoot connection, hug a tree, spend quality time out there. You'll return like a completely different person, and it transmutes energy on a completely another level, okay? Last one, spiritual baths, I swear by. Dead Sea salt. You could do Himalayan salt, all of that. Epsom salt's not going to be enough. You need the real deal. But I feel like the raw Dead Sea salt, there's something more intense about it. Or if you happen to live by an ocean, that is the most transmutation sea salt destination you could ever. That's like the Mac Daddy of all of this. If you are next to an ocean, use it. Get in there. Even if it's freezing, get in there and transmute the energy being sent at you, okay? Because these spiritual attacks, they are intense and they're scary. But they also, I'm living proof, others are living proof that you can get through it once you educate yourself on what's going on, educate yourself on how you transmute it, what works best for you, and eventually work on raising your vibration and cleaning out your body from toxins. Because when you get to a higher point, the spell work no longer, it cannot hit you like it once did. And that is also why these secret societies will team up and create scenarios in your life so your vibration goes really low. Because then they send that spell work, and that's when they can get you. But if you're in a high vibration, that spell work can't get you. So know your traumas, your triggers, and always continually keep on working on yourself and raising your vibration. All right, guys? So I will definitely get into more of this, but for right now, I just kind of wanted to get the conversation started on this and hear other people's story and get some feedback on it. And, you know, it also gives people that are hearing this that feel like it may be a possibility this is what's happening to them. It gives them a lifeline, right? It lets them know they're not alone. And it opens their mind to a possibility that otherwise they wouldn't have opened this door and even considered it. So, leave your comments down below. Let me know what has worked for you, what you felt like you were up against, and then the things that have worked for you to get through those dark moments. All right, family? I look forward to reading them.